Hey guys, it's Miss Erica. Welcome to rStudents Online.
Hey guys, it's Pastor Jordan here, and I am joined by a couple of my friends, Courtney, McKenna, and Madison. And today, they're gonna help me play a little game that I like to call Back to Picture, or what'd you call it? Phonectionary. That makes little sense to me, but we're gonna go with it. Phonectionary, if I said that right. But the way that this game works is I'm gonna draw a picture on this piece of paper, but it's gonna be placed on Courtney's back. And then from what she feels, she has to try and recreate this picture on McKenna's back. Then McKenna's gotta recreate the picture on Madison's back, who then has to recreate the picture by herself. There's no back for her. But at the end, we're gonna see how much the picture changes from its original until the end. But first, since we gotta be safe, we gotta wash our hands. So a couple weeks ago, Pastor Thomas taught us how to wash our hands, so I'm gonna model after him. Get a little soap. And let's go. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For thine is the power and the glory forever. Amen. And now that we've washed our hands, we can go ahead and get started. But don't forget to invite your friends and to have them fill out that digital connection card that's in the description of this video so that you can get a chance to win a free Amazon gift card. Also, since I'm not the best artist, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys what I'm gonna draw just in case you can't recognize it. But I'm not gonna tell them, so it's gonna show up on the screen probably right around here. Don't judge my drawing too much, guys.
Judge it completely.
Well, thanks, McKenna. All right, so let's get started. It's much easier than what you're probably feeling it to be. Can you guys tell what that is so far?
I can't remember all the steps it took to draw this.
All right, that's it, Courtney. That's all you got.
I'm a little scared, folks. I'm totally judging you right now, Jordan.
So as you can see, hopefully, you can see that this is an ice cream cone. I don't think we did very well, but I think we have a couple of pretty talented artists here. So what I want you guys to do is, even though we didn't get the ice cream cone in the end, why don't you let us know in the comments below who you think drew the best picture, all right?
Me, just totally me. And we're judging, Jordan. Just judging. We're judging.
Hey guys, it is time for our Say Yes Challenge of the week. This week, thank you guys again. I was not challenged. We have Miss Erica here who was challenged this week. Just really quick, if you guys have any challenges that you want to submit for our Say Yes Challenges of the week, please follow the link in the description of this video and you can submit your own challenges for myself or any of our other leaders like Miss Erica here, who are just waiting for you to send you their challenges. So, Miss Erica, I only told you what you were doing just moments before we started this.
I'm super excited.
Are you? I think your face can definitely shows it there.
Yeah.
But for all of you at home, Miss Erica has been challenged to test her knowledge of Gen Z lingo. So we have about 4 words that we're going to go through and see if Miss Erica knows what these words mean. If these words are not necessarily ones that you yourself use, I promise you, people are using them somewhere, Gen Z. But why don't you send some of your favorite Gen Z lingo in the chat so we can hopefully educate our leaders and myself of how you guys are talking, because it changes every week nowadays, and it's crazy.
For sure.
Yeah. So, Erica, how do you think you're going to do?
Not too good.
Not too good?
No.
Does it make you feel any better if I told you I picked some pretty easy, common ones?
No.
So you think you're just going to be equally as confused?
Yes.
All right. Well,
Yes.
I have faith in you. I think you're going to do better than you think. I think you'll at least get one.
Okay.
All right. So the first one is pretty simple. I know you've probably heard this a lot of times, but let's see if you can provide a definition for it. The first one is yeet.
Oh, I have no idea what it actually means.
Can you use it in a sentence?
I'm super yeet. I don't know. Yeet. If you give me the definition, I can tell you that I knew that.
All right, so
No, I don't know.
The technical definition, and yes, I looked these up just so you guys know. So if you don't like these definitions, blame Google. But the technical definition for yeet is excitement, triumph, or happiness, or to throw something with extreme force. So you throw something off screen and yeet! Don't judge me, guys. At least not too hard. All right. So.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of knew that, but I couldn't formulate that answer in my head. So go ahead.
As one guy that I know says, yeet is yeet. You can't really define it. Yeet is yeet. So that's 0 for 1. I'm not going to give you a point for that. You're close.
Wow.
Close, but let's see if you can get this next one.
Okay.
Our word number 2 is bet. B-E-T. Bet.
Basically means bet, like you for sure, like duh.
Actually, you're right. Yeah. So the definition is okay, yes, or accepting a challenge. Do you want to use it in a sentence?
You bet. I don't know. I can't think of something right now. See,
Are you gonna be
I'm
at
not
youth
on
group
the
tonight,
fly
Erica?
kind of person. Yes.
No, that was your
bet.
opportunity. That was man. I gave
I
you
just
a
snorted.
Everybody, clap for the snort. Yes. Oh, that's awesome.
See,
this is a perfect time to go to our third word. So you're 1 for 2 right now. See if you can get 3. The next word is tea.
Oh, gossip.
Hey, there we go. 2 for 3.
I say that one all the time.
So hey guys,
Spill the tea.
Spill the tea about that one time that Erica snorted on rStudents online.
Oh my goodness.
There is our sentence for word number 3. And our 4th word, I think you're going to get this one too, to be honest. It's pretty easy, but it's actually a phrase. So it is, let's get that bread. What is bread?
Money, I guess. I don't really know.
Ding, 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 ding! We have a winner! So what would be, the technical definition is to earn money or succeed at doing something. So tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and get that bread. Could be either
kind of like
paycheck.
Kind of like making bank. That's what my word was back in the day.
So your word back in the day. Why don't, before we go, and this is a little off script, why don't you tell us some of your lingo from back in your day? that you can remember off the top of your head?
Gnarly is the first thing that just popped into my head. That's really it. Like, that's all that like popped into my head.
Can you use that one in a sentence for us and define it for those of us who might not know?
Super cool. It's super cool. It's totally gnarly, man. It's like
totally gnarly.
Yeah, like Valley Girl was in then. You know.
I have no idea what Valley Girl is. I honestly think that's a little bit of a good thing.
No, well, I mean, it's really just girls from the valley, meaning, you know, okay, I'm trying to think. The Hydro Flask girls of today, basically.
Visco girls.
Yes, that's it. That's the word. Yeah.
So I think for me growing up, one of the biggest slang words that people used all the time was legit.
Yeah.
We just said that all the time. That's legit, bro. Like, that was...
My older kids did that. Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
Awesome. So, hey, guys, why don't you give Miss Erica a round of applause? She got 3 out of 4. Like, I was like, I knew these were kind of a little bit on the easier side, but you blew my expectations out of the water. Why don't you guys give her a round of applause and let her know how well she did? And don't forget to drop your challenges for our Say Yes challenge for our leaders to do next week or maybe even the week afterwards by following the link to the description in this video. And why don't you hit us up with some of your favorite Gen Z lingo words as well in the comments so we can learn another thing or two about how you guys communicate nowadays. Hey guys, this week we're going to continue with our new series called Popular, and it has everything to do with influence. But what exactly is influence? Well, if you missed last week, it's the ability to have an effect on someone else. It's the ability to affect their things like their behaviors, their thoughts, or even their choices. See, when you have influence over someone, it means you have the potential to change something about who they are, what they think, or how they even live their lives. Now, I don't know about you, but when I hear the word influence, the first thing that comes to my mind isn't always positive. In fact, sometimes it's just a long list of things my parents, my teachers, or even my coaches told me when I was your age. They said things like, don't hang out with that kid, he's a bad influence, or you can't watch that show because it's a bad influence. Or your friends should be people who have a good influence in your life. Your little brother or your little sister are looking up to you, so you have to make sure you're a good influence for them. You better be a good influence for the people around you. Does this sound familiar? Maybe the adults in your life are telling you a few of these things right now. See, think about this for a second. When you hear the word influence, it can be easy to automatically put the word bad in front of it. I think that's because we're so much more familiar with the idea of bad influence than we are with good. Maybe that's because the adults in your life are a lot like the ones that were in my life when I was a student. Your parents, your teachers, and your coaches are always talking to you about bad influences. They're telling you not to be a bad influence, not to be the kind of friends or teammates or even significant others who would lead someone else towards things that are not good for them. Don't encourage your friends to break rules or lie to their parents or cheat on that test. In other words, don't be a bad influence on the people around you. Or they're telling you not to hang out with people who are bad influences on you. People who will lead you towards things that are not good for you. Avoid that kid who parties too hard, or that girl who gossips all the time, or the kid who got suspended last week. Don't let the way that they act or the choices that they make influence how you act or the choices that you make.
Now, here's the deal though. The adults in your life aren't saying all of this stuff about bad influences because they're mean or they're strict or they want to kill what little fun you might have in your life. They're actually saying these things because they love you. They want to protect you from the people and the things that might influence your life away from God's best for you. They want to help you become the best version of yourself, and they recognize that the people around you have a lot to do with it. But can we be honest for a second? Sometimes the thought of being a good influence feels like a lot of responsibility, right? Like you have to do all of the right things and make all the right choices all the time, and you always have to have the right answers. Nobody can do that, and trying to sounds exhausting. And on the other side, the idea of only hanging out with somebody who's a good influence might not sound that fun either. Maybe they don't go along with what the crowd is doing, or they're always following the rules, or they don't go with what's popular. That doesn't seem like a great time, does it? But here's the thing. When we think about influence in these ways, we're actually missing the bigger picture. It makes it seem like the kind of influence that you have is completely based on the behaviors and the choices that you make. Like if you make good decisions, you always have good influence, but the second you start making bad choices, you're suddenly a bad influence on everybody. While our choices and behaviors do have a lot to do with our influence, I think there's a lot more to do with influence than what we may realize. There's this cool picture in the Bible of what I think influence is really about, and I want us to look at it together today. It's from a book called Acts, which was written about the spread of Christianity and the start of the early church after Jesus came to earth. You see, the guys who are leading this movement of Christianity weren't the most popular people on the planet. They weren't famous or super cool or known for having the most followers on their early church TikTok accounts. They were just a group of people who believed in Jesus, began to follow his teachings, and wanted to share those teachings with those around them. These guys were known as the apostles of the church, which is just another way of saying that they were the leaders and the teachers spreading the movement of Christianity who were sent out. And one of these guys, well, his name was Peter, and he was actually called by Jesus himself to be one of the leaders who would help be the foundation of the church. Now, here's what's really interesting about that. Peter wasn't the best decision maker. In fact, Peter made a lot of bad choices during his time that he spent with Jesus. He had a tendency to be angry or cowardly, and sometimes he was even a liar. Still, this is one of the guys that Jesus chose to help spread his message to the people around him. And here's what I think is so cool about that Jesus knew that Peter's ability to influence others wasn't just about his behavior or choices. It was about God working in him. Peter had influence, not because of anything he did or didn't do, but because God gave it to him. God gave him the influence he needed to be part of leading and growing the church. All Peter had to do was say yes to it and take one step at a time. And that's exactly what he did. Look what happened because of it. We're going to look at Acts 2, verse 43 through 47 today. And it says this: all the believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship and to sharing in meals, including the Lord's Supper and to prayer. A deep sense of awe came over them all, and the apostles performed many miraculous signs and wonders. And all the believers met together in one place and shared everything that they had. They sold their property and possessions and shared the money with those in need. They worshiped together at the temple each day, met in homes for the Lord's Supper, and shared their meals with great joy and generosity, all the while praising God and enjoying the goodwill of all the people. And each day the Lord added to the fellowship those who were being saved. Now, we can see that this passage describes one of the first looks at the early Christian church. But back then, I don't know if the people who were there really understood what they were building and the influence and the impact that would have for all of human history. See, Peter and his community were simply using the influence that they had. They were influencing the people around them to do what Jesus had called them to do, to love God and love others. They weren't saying yes to being good influences. Instead, they were saying yes to using their God-given influence for good, one small step at a time. Were they the most popular guys? Probably not. Did they see the results right away? Nope, not at all. Did they get the credit they deserved for the good that they were doing? Not always. But still, they kept going. They used their influence for good and for God. And that gave them the motivation to take these small steps in the right direction. And those steps impacted and influenced the people around them to do the same. That's what I want you to see today. Doing big things starts with small steps. Your ability to influence others isn't about whether or not your character or your behavior is always good or bad. It isn't about getting it right all the time. It's about saying yes to using what influence you have, the influence that God has given you for good. And the best way to do that is one small step at a time. See, Peter and his friends who started the early church wanted to see those around them come to know Jesus and believe in him. They didn't have all the influence in the world to make this happen quickly. In fact, they probably never imagined just how big their influence would one day become. But they kept going one small step at a time to eventually see this movement of God spread. And those small steps started a movement that shaped the entire community around them. Let me show you what I mean. The first step that they took was they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to spending time with each other. Step 2, they let God work through them and were amazed by all that God did. Step 3, they found common ground with each other. Step 4, they gave to those who were in need, no matter the cost. Step 5, they shared meals together at home and genuinely enjoyed each other's company. Step 6, they praised God together. Step 7, as a result of all these things, God grew their church every day. You see, each one of these small steps inched this group closer and closer to having a big influence. Each step may seem inconsequential and really small and insignificant when it was taken, but it moved them in a big way towards big influence. And the same can be true for you. You can take small steps every single day that inch you closer and closer towards your influence for good. Because doing big things starts with small steps. Your ability to influence others starts with small steps in the right direction. The more steps you take toward being a positive influence, the more impact your influence will make for good over time. See, the ability to influence someone doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't come as a result of only making right decisions or having the best behavior all the time. And it definitely didn't come from being the most popular person in the room. Influence comes from small steps every single day towards being the kind of person who can make a big impact. And the same can be true for you. I think you can become someone and the kind of person who influences people for good. In fact, I think you have the potential to have a big influence in your life. You just have to start taking small steps to get there. So here's what I want you to try. Number 1, think about how and in what way you want to influence the people around you. Do you want to be someone who influences others to serve? Or how about if you want to influence them to be kind, or maybe to be generous or friendly? To help those in need maybe? But what is it that you want to influence the people around you to do or to be? And number 2, take one small step towards using your influence for good. If you want to be someone who influences others to serve, then take a small step towards serving someone else in your community. Maybe by mowing somebody else's yard, or they're offering to babysit for free. If you want to be someone who influences others to be kind or friendly, take a small step to do the same. Maybe even just shoot an encouraging text to someone to let them know that they're loved. And remember this, doing big things starts by taking small steps. Now, maybe you're sitting there thinking, well, Pastor Jordan, I know you're saying influence isn't about the behavior or the choices that we make, but I've already made too many bad choices. I've already behaved so bad. There's no way I could ever have the kind of influence that you're talking about for good. And if that's you, I hope you're going to join us next week, because we're actually going to dive a little bit deeper into that exact conversation. But today I want to tell you that it's never too late to start taking those small steps in the direction of a better influence. Because no matter who you are or what your story is, I believe that you have the potential to have big influence in a great way. Now, as we end for today, I want you to think about this one question. What's one way I want to influence the people around me? Let's pray. Papa, I thank you so much for who you are, and I thank you for the influence that you have given each and every single one of us. God, I ask that you help us to recognize that very influence that you gave us, and help us see how we can take a small step every single day in our lives to move from a bad influence maybe to a good influence. Help us to see how we can impact the world and the people around us to make good decisions and point them towards you in the end. In your precious name, amen. Well, hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in again to rStudents Online. I hope that this blessed you, and I hope that you can see how you can influence the people around you in your lives today. Well, you guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you again next week here at rStudents Online.